What's up friends, Chook here and welcome back to Bit Heroes. It is Thursday, it is capture day, and we have our 50% bonus rate there, as well as our 40% bonus rate from our runes. So we are good to go. We are working on, we've changed plans a little bit, and we're working on getting at least to +2 of Walkham. Probably +5, and then we can work on the World Digger Mythic Fam, whatever the frig his name is. So today we are going for Driffin, the ever elusive Driffin, and we'll see how we go. So we have as much capture rate as we could possibly have, and hopefully we can get the Driffin that we need. We have everything else that we need. I caught a wardy during the week, so if we catch a Driffin today, we can fuse another Walkham and +1 him. I'm working on getting a second wardy so that when we get to 2 Driffins, we can +2 him because I have everything else I need. I have 2 of the other fams that go into making Walkham already. So once we +2 him, then we maybe we'll start going for Wall Digger, or maybe we'll just keep going with getting, you know, the fams we need for getting Walkham +5. But we'll see. We'll see how we go. We'll get a Driffin first of all, hopefully, and go from there. Now, I did say in a previous video, which a lot of people have corrected me on, and I knew as soon as I stopped recording, I'm like, that's not correct, that I was saying that going into Raid 2 would be good, because not only can we go for the Driffin, but we can also get the elusive mob in here, Bully, which we need for the World Digger Mythic Fam thing. But Bully is in Raid 3. And Mimsy's in Raid 2. So I just had a mental blank while recording, doing gameplay video, while commentating and trying to you know, come up with insightful things to say. Does actually take a lot of energy to keep thinking of things. So sometimes I just forget, you know, basic little things like that. And you know, like there's a lot of different things to this game, a lot of different fams and stuff. So you're bound to forget things once in a while. So unfortunately, yeah. Bully isn't in here, he's in Raid 3, but I guess in the same sort of thing, if we wanted to go and make the other one, Rombolio or whatever his name is, we need Captain Wombuzz, which needs Captain Woodbeard. So while we're there getting Bully, we have a chance to get Captain Woodbeard as well. So I have cat hair in my mouth. So yeah, it doesn't really matter. I mean, there's useful things in every raid, right? Raid 1, there's Oxla. Okay, well there was no Driffin there. Raid 1 there's Oxla. Raid 2 there's Driffin. Raid 3 there's Bully. Raid 4 there is the double robot dudes, and Raid 5 there is Zol, and also like loot, like legendaries to break down and stuff. So it doesn't matter really what raid we do. There's something that we can use in all 5 of them. And then who knows how long until Raid 6 will come out and the next tier. So usually I don't get anywhere near maxing my gear before the next tier comes out. As free to play, it takes a while, all the rest of it. So I am pretty much near max. I'll show you in just a second. Right about now. Why not? That we have our 3-part on. So we gain full shields when we drop below 50% for the first time, which is great. We only need 1 more upgrade. And then we have full tier 8 legendaries or sets or mythics, which is awesome. Apart from our accessory and pet, which the accessory, as I mentioned, I'm okay. I'm, you know, happy enough with it, but the pet, I really, really want to change. Level 270, I've still got this crappy rare pet. So yeah, hopefully we can fix that soon. I also need to re-roll my mount because I've got 3.5% health, but I've re-rolled it like a bunch of times because it started off with, and it was something crap, and then it went to something else crap, then it went to 4% health, and then it went to 3.5% health, and then I gave up because it got too expensive. So there are definitely some upgrades to be made on the mount side as well. But as far as actually equipable tier 8 pieces, we have fully equipped tier 8 legendaries or above, and we just need 1 more upgrade until we have the most amount of total score or gear score, whatever you can get from equipables that you know, that are not mount and everything else related. So that's exciting. I think I have about 43 luminous stones, so I think I need 240. So give or take 4 legendaries broken down should get us there. as well as the Luminous Stones you get from picking up in Raid 5 and, you know, at the end of the week. Bonuses that you get from, you know, PvP and Gauntlet Trials, fishing, whatever have you, you know, all those things. We will get enough Luminous Stones to fully upgrade that, hopefully soon enough. But I'm not doing World Boss at the moment. I'm doing Wardy's Dungeon and not Fatty, that's what I'm trying to make. The Yeti's Dungeon to try and get those two fams. Wardy for the Welcome, obviously, and Yeti for Fatty. Still have 0 Yetis, so that's a while away. But as soon as I get those 5 Yetis, I can make Fatty. So yeah, look forward to that. We'll try and do that. And as I mentioned, rather than doing Raid 2 for Driffin, say we don't get Driffin today, and say we don't get him next week, rather than doing like 3 or 4 weeks of Raid 2 in a row, maybe we'll do, you know, a couple of weeks of Raid 2, and then maybe we'll do like a week of just doing like the Yeti dungeon or something to try and get Yeti, see how many times he comes up. We'll see, we'll play around with it and see how we go. Pardon me. But that is the, you know, the future plans to fully upgrade the last piece of gear, and then work on getting the Driffin and Wardy and Yeti. That's the close, you know, the close future, near future plan. Long-term plan, who knows? As I said, we'll see how long it takes for the next raid and the next tier to come out. So yeah, as I mentioned, I hardly ever get close to fully upgrading my whole gear for that current tier, and I've pretty much done it. So in that kind of indication, I would think it would be soonish, but who knows? Who knows? It doesn't feel that long ago that Raid 5 came out, although it kind of does. I don't know, it would have been earlier this year, right? So if it was early this year, that's 6 months at least. So yeah, you know, maybe the new tier will come out soon. As I mentioned, and I probably don't need to mention anymore because I've said it enough times, so this will probably be the last time I mention it, for a while at least, is that I don't, you know, troll through the forums and comments and you know, subreddit and all that stuff looking for information. So as far as new raids and, you know, new gear and the new stuff that's coming out each week and all the rest of it, I just find out when I log in, which I kind of prefer because then it's like a surprise, right? So yeah, if there's been any talk about the new raid and the new tier and all the rest of it coming, I'm not aware of it. And I'll just find out when there's a, you know, one of the news things that comes. Whoop, that's not settings. Settings, news, when it comes up here, and it'll say like new raid in, you know, 7 days or whatever. So that's when I find out. Damn, no Driffin. Okay, well, we completed a bounty, which is good, I guess. I mean, it's free, so free is good. What are we down? 3 down? Nothing. Complete 3 dungeons. Easy. Yeah, so we got, as far as the Welcome thing goes, I guess without planning it, we kind of got lucky in the fact that we have 2 of the duo robots from Raid 4 captured already, so we can make that that fam for Welcome, we can make 2 of them straight away. And then he needs 2 Velks as well, which is 20 Hobbit feet. I think I have like 17 or 18, so I only need to do World Boss a couple times to get another 2 Hobbit feet. There's 2 of Velk straight away. So we're lucky in the fact that we have a few of the fams already needed, and we just need the Driffin and the Wardies. And I managed to pick up a Wardy fairly easily. It was the third time he came up for persuasion. He just accepted gold, threw it at his face, and you know, he said, "Fine, I'll have your gold, and I'll come with you. That's fine." So whereas the Yetis, I've probably tried to persuade 8, 9, 10 maybe Yetis, and all of them have said no so far, which is a shame. Considering I need 5 of them and I only need 2 of the warties, you know, we would probably prefer to get the Yetis. Because doing the stabling is good, but it's hard to explain. The amount of effort to get another Walkham, for instance, right? You need 10 Hobbit feet and some mobs or whatever it is to make some familiars to make the Velk. Then you need to get a legendary familiar, an epic familiar, sorry, from raid 4, and another fam from wherever else is to make that. And then you need a Driffin and a warty, all that to make a Walkham, and then to stable it for like an extra X amount of TS. Like, it's not like, well, I mean, you could use 2 Walkhams as well, I guess, in PvP or whatever. But if we have a look at level 270, if we stable, if we board our Walkham, where is he? What do we get? 36 plus 10 is 46, 57 TS. You know, considering, looking at his overall stats, like he's got 1,741 attack. Stabling him, 1,741, you get an extra 36. 36 compared to 1,741 is fuck all. You know, 11 compared to 561, fuck all. 10 compared to 505, fuck all. So it's a lot of effort to go to stable things. And this goes off your total score and everything as well. So I still have people asking me, which is fair enough, it's a decent question. You know, should I be plus 5ing Tramps and Ballin and stuff? And my answer is always no. Because early on in the game, you might stable Tramps and you might only get like 6 TS or something. And you're spending a lot of time in, you know, Zone 1 Dungeon 2 and Zone 2 Dungeon 2 for Tramps, off the top of my head. You're spending a lot of time in there trying to get the fams you need to stable him, to fuse and stable him, when you could just be progressing to get to, you know, Raid 1. And, you know, you could then get a Squibbo from Raid 1, or you could work towards your Yobbo. So, yeah, I don't know. Stabling early game, to me, seems counterproductive. It just seems like a giant waste of time. But late game, it you know, it definitely has its perks. It's a lot of effort, you know, to make a whole nother Walkham for 57 points. So, yeah. But if you do 57 times 5, you know, you're getting up to nearly 300 TS, and that's kind of a difference. But the good thing is, even if we don't get him to plus 5, say we get him to plus 2, it's still going to be an extra, you know, 100 and something, 114 or whatever it be, TS. That's all great. And then we have a spare one as well. Well, we have a spare 2, but we have a spare one for when we do decide, if we decide to make that mythic. And then, you know, even if we do that, we still have a plus 1 Walkham, so it's not all bad. And why I recommend doing stabling at the end, like at endgame where I'm at, is, you know, it gives you another kind of thing to work towards. So because this game's so grindy and farmy and somewhat repetitive and whatnot, like, people can get burnt out, and I know that there have been a lot of people that I've met through doing the YouTube videos and stuff that have quit. And, you know, it's not for them, it's too grindy, and it's, you know, it takes too much time to get to places and da-da-da-da-da, which I completely understand. But come endgame, if you're trying to, you know, get all these fusions together and stuff, and do some stabling or working towards a mythic familiar or something like that, it kind of gives you another thing to aim for, rather than just doing Raid 5 over and over again, and Gauntlet Trials, whatever it is, over and over again for gear. It's like, well, I need this familiar, and then, like, once you get the Driffin, then you're like, oh shit, now I need the double robots, I'll go to Raid 4. And so it's kind of just keeps it fresh, because you're always striving for something, rather than just doing literally the same thing over and over and over every day. Hopefully that makes sense. It's kind of more of a feeling thing than a rule or a guide to follow. But that's what I do. So, yeah, rather than just spending all my raid shards on Raid 5 every day, no matter what, you know, I go for certain fams that I think I would like or want, or try to stable or something, just as a little other kind of avenue to look into and keep myself interested, so I just don't burn out. But yeah, definitely early game, I would say stabling is not really important. We've had no one show up for Persuasion yet. Not even Purple Axe Guy. And he loves me. I think Purple Axe Guy goes into... He goes into... shit. I know the familiar, I just can't think of its name. The redirect... No, not the redirect. The deflect guy. Roll Ace, is it? One of them. I don't know. I think he's part of the Roleska fusion. I think it's him and Roy, I think it is, makes Roll Ace. Who knows? I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments. Come on, Driffin. Where's your butt? We got a Hyper Shard, which is super rare. And that's another thing I keep getting asked about as well. So I'll touch on these topics each week, depending on what kind of comments and messages and questions I've got in the week prior to these videos. Is that someone said that they got I think it was a set piece from Raid 2, and they were wondering, you know, is it worth it to try and upgrade that and you know, level that up and take it with them along the journey, or whether they should replace it. And just as it is with every kind of tier, legendaries, set pieces, mythics, what have you, until it's the current raid 5 and tier 8, it's not really worth it. So it depends if you're pay to win, or not so much pay to win, but if you're putting money into the game, it's viable-ish to take, like, I wouldn't do it from raid 2 because that's crazy. I don't even know if you can, to be honest. But say you got the Pew Pew laser, right? Which I've just recently replaced with Comet Fell. If I wanted to take that to raid to tier 8 rather than tier 7, you can, but you need quite a few things to do it. I think you need a heap of Luminous Stones from memory. I think you need to exchange 2 mythics to get like the 2 mythic materials that you need. So it's a big ask to upgrade it and take it with you. As well as that is that you need all the specific materials from the current raid. So in this example of this subscriber that asked me, is it worth getting the raid 2 set piece upgraded, you need a heap of those Hyper Shards that we just picked up before that I was talking about. They're super rare. They're the rarest of all of the unique materials to each raid. And you need, I don't know how many you need to max out a set piece or legendary or something, but I'm guessing 20 plus. And they're really, really hard to get. To max that out, you would need to do so many raid 2s and gauntlet trials of tier 5, which is raid 2, to be able to get all of those Hyper Shards to upgrade it fully. And then when you get to raid 3, you're just going to replace it anyway. Probably with it, you know, with a legendary there, of which I also recommend not upgrading. But just, you know, stick with epics until you get to the final, the top tier of the game, which at the moment, as I said, is tier 8, raid 5. Just stick with epics. Just max out epics of the current tier you're in, and get to the next tier and the next raid. Get epics from there and max them out. Upgrading legendaries and set pieces and all the rest of it from lower tiers just is so much of a time sink, and you're just going to upgrade them. You're just going to replace them, sorry, with the next tier anyway. So it's not worth it. Just get your epics upgraded with epic material and gold. Super cheap, super easy, and epics are really, comparatively, like really, really easy to find. You can get them in gauntlet trials, world bosses, dungeons, raids. You can get them anywhere. Whereas legendaries, you know, only drop from gauntlets and trials, obviously, but only drop from the boss. So with epics, you can get those drops from literally any mob. So they're way easy to get. Upgrading them fully only, you know, you only have like a little bit of TS less than a legendary, like maybe like 50 or 30 or something, depending on what tier you're in. So it's not that big of a drop, considering that you're going to replace them with the next tier anyway. It's just way easier, way quicker, way less of a pain in the ass, and is just going to make your life a lot easier, rather than farming and farming and farming for these unique materials that you need, that you're never going to get enough of, unless you sit in that tier for ages, and in which case you're just wasting even more time. So that's my advice. Always stick to epics until you get to the current endgame situation. Then you can start upgrading your legendaries and set pieces and stuff, because there is no next tier to replace them with. Okay, well this looks like the last mob, and we didn't get any persuasion whatsoever. I just assumed that was not going to give us one either. So that sucked balls, man. That was, as far as persuasion goes. Oh no, we have one last chance. Nope. Nothing. Not a thing. So let's do one quick warty dungeon and see if we can get a warty out of it. And once we get this next warty, then we have 2 of everything, and all we need, apart from Driffin, then all we need is 2 Driffins, and then we can plus 2 IRR. We make 2 Walkums and plus 2 him. So once I get this warty, I just figured while I'm here, I got 1 warty, I might as well just get the second one, and then I can just focus 100% on getting the Yeti. I was gonna like just kind of jump between the 2 of them, and I thought I need them both. Screw it, I'll just get the warties out, like, because there's only 2 of them. I'll get them out over and done with, out of the way, and then from there I can just focus 100% on the Yetis and try and get 5 of them. And I've also made the decision, as I recommend to everyone, to not spend gems on dungeon bosses. So, you know, they're going to show up every single dungeon, no matter what. So unless you're super bored or frustrated, and like you just can't get it, and you've done like the dungeon like a gajillion times and it just won't, you know, then it's up to you if you want to use gems or not. But I'm pretty patient as far as that goes, and I will just wait and spend my gold and get them eventually. So we didn't get lucky there either. We did, however, fill a bounty. So that is this week's capture rate day done. We did get a crappy little enchant there. But next week we will come back and we will do raid 2 again, and we'll try for Driffin, and hopefully we can get him then, or 2 of them would be perfect. But we'll see how we go. And then from there, yeah, like I said, we might go to a whole episode of doing a warty dungeon or a Yeti dungeon, depending on how long it takes us to get these Driffins and how repetitive doing raid 2 is, because I know it can get repetitive doing it myself. Either way, hopefully you enjoyed it. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.